Byline Times had its first print run this week, and they did what all good media does. They led with the royal family on the cover for the obvious and rather cynical reason that it sells papers. It has, ever since time began, it sells papers. So that's fine, good on them. Unfortunately, the story itself isn't very strong and isn't very compelling, and that is where they let themselves down. If I was them, I would have waited until I had something really solid, really juicy, and I wouldn't have relied on huge chunks quoted from Spare to be the main basis of my argument. Now, I'll just quickly run through the three main allegations that the Byline Times makes against the royal family. There are more than three, but these are the three main ones. The first one being that King Charles removed his transitional funding of £700,000 to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle early, and it was because they were furious that Prince Harry, in a letter of action delivered by their lawyers to the court, named a palace aide, implying that he was providing leaks to his boyfriend, who then subsequently sold those leaks to Dan Wooten of The Sun, which is an intriguing spin, but it's really easy to refute. Second allegation is the fact that the royal family, particularly King Charles, Camilla, Prince William and Catherine, are so consumed and so threatened by the ability of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to create headlines. I'm sure they're really jealous of the fact that they were featured in the South Park episode. I'm sure they are just furious about their cameo on Family Guy. And I'm sure that they really want the sort of headlines that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have managed to generate, particularly over the last 3 years. And the third most humorous allegation is the fact that the royal family signed off on a campaign of hate and harassment and negative headlines with the British media for 1 full year after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle moved to the USA. Okay, let's start with the last one first. Now, the fact that King Charles and Prince William could have that level of control over the British media is really quite funny. I mean, if they had that level of control to be able to devise a campaign of negativity, harassment and hate against another member of the royal family for exactly 1 year, well, then they would never get any negative headlines, would they? And they often get negative headlines, particularly before the late Queen died. Poor King Charles really copped a flacking almost weekly. I mean, they've laid off him a bit lately because he's in his honeymoon period and they're giving him a go. They're giving him a bit of space. And plus, they are reading the room. They are reading the public. The public doesn't want King Charles particularly picked on at the moment because they're still mourning his mother. And the general sentiment is, lay off the guy. He's had a really rough time of it lately. He's had enough bashing from his own son and his daughter-in-law. We don't really need to add to the pile-on. They are reading the room. But I assure you, they will pick on King Charles and Camilla, I believe, very shortly. I'm sure their honeymoon period will be over soon. As for Prince William and Catherine, they are still being picked on up to recent times. There was articles only a few weeks ago about the fact they didn't work hard enough. And there was carping articles about Catherine not attending the Earthshot Prize coming up. And, you know, there's always negative headlines about Prince William and Catherine. They take it in their stride, they ignore it, and they just get on with the job. So the fact that, the royal family has this amazing control over the media in Britain is just ludicrous and really quite laughable. So we won't spend any more time on that one because it is patently ridiculous. Okay, the second accusation that they're consumed by jealousy and Meghan and Harry's ability to create headlines. Well, I think the sort of headlines that they are generating would actually make them shudder. I don't think they want those headlines. And to be fair, I don't really think they are after headlines. I think they're after attention for the causes that they're backing. I think they're after attention to go onto the charities that they are supporting and the work they're doing and what they're trying to achieve. But they're not after personal glamour. They're not after personal attention. They're not after headlines. They are happy to do their duty, do their work, go about it in a calm way, create enough interest, hopefully, to generate some attention on the people they're trying to help. But that's it. It's not ego-driven. It's not like Harry and Meghan. And the assertion that they're jealous about some sort of spectacular rival royal court being developed in Melodramasito. Well, look, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle haven't come back. They've had 3 years to establish this amazing rival court that is going to make the British monarchy unstable and unpopular and even lead to the destruction of it. Not very exciting. Bit of a damp squib, bit of a nothing burger, like I said. They haven't. There is nothing impactful coming out of Melodramasito other than people laughing. They've created, a great deal of humiliation from themselves. And that isn't just coming from the British media, that's worldwide. I mean, headlines in Australia are constantly laughing and mocking them. Our morning breakfast programs are constantly laughing and mocking them. I mean, they're just great fodder for a laugh. They just are. So they are creating all the negativity themselves. They are a powerhouse of self-destruction. Now let's get on to the main allegation that King Charles actually tried to pressure them financially to make them remove this AIDS name from this letter of action before the court. And when they didn't, they subsequently pulled the funding in May 2020. The threats were made in May 2020 as asserted by the Byline Times, but the actual funding pulled in June. Okay. Well, there's something else, Byline Times, that happened in May 2020. Harry and Meghan actually bought their house in Melodramasito in May 2020. Now, the funding, the transitional funding, was called transitional funding because it was on the table while Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were still deciding what they were going to do. Upon them buying a permanent residence in Melodramasito, that transition was over. They had made their decision that they were going to live permanently in the USA, and they had bought a family home to bring up their children. Subsequently, King Charles thought, well, I don't think they need transitional funding anymore because they have made their decision. And it's actually quite ludicrous for me to fund their new decision and lifestyle in Melodramasito. I think it was the 16 bathrooms that made him close the bank. And the fact that they wanted Prince Harry back in the tent was for his own protection, you idiots. They built his profile. They made him popular. And the reason why they made him popular for all those years was because they were trying to protect him. They were trying to make him 3 mistakes high, if you would like a sort of aviation reference. So that when he made his inevitable gaffes, when he did his inevitable stupid things, then he was 3 mistakes high with the public. They would forgive him anything due to his popularity. They did it to protect him and protect the monarchy. When he was outside the tent and in the clutches of the claw over in Melodramasito, they knew that his inevitable demise, his popularity will plummet. And what's happened? Exactly that. It has plummeted to the depths. The whole world is laughing at him now. He's a joke. He's a silly, whiny, petulant little joke. And they knew that that would happen. And they were concerned that if the marriage failed, that he would have nothing to come home to. They were worried that his reputation would be irretrievably damaged long term. So that was the only reason that they were trying to get him to come back, was because they were trying to protect him. Because despite the fact that he is a complete dick that doesn't deserve their loyalty, they love him. Inexplicably, they actually really love him. His father loves him and was trying to protect him, just like he's protected him his whole bloody life. So that is the simple explanation. So the Byline Times article is a real stretch. They're taking their 3-year investigation of Dan Wooten, which I'm not going to comment on because for all I know, that could be valid. It is in the hands of the police. The police will decide whether what they have presented to them has any validation, whether they're going to act on it. And if they decide to, they will then charge Dan Wooten. I have no opinion on that. I'm waiting to see what happens. But this cynical attempt to tie that 3-year investigation to the royal family via this aide who had a publicist boyfriend that happened to do business with the showbiz editor of The Sun, who happened to be Dan Wooten. Come on, Byline Times. If I was your editor, I would have said by all means, lead with the royal scandal, but make it something worthwhile. I'm actually really disappointed in the Byline Times because I was quite excited. I am open, completely open to counter-narratives, to argument, to really good ideas presented well, articles without bias, new facts appearing. And if anything they said about the royal family in this article had resonated with me, or I thought that there was anything in it, I would have presented that without fear or favour. But it was a weak article. It was so lame. It was disappointingly lame. So I don't know whether they need to get a better editor. They need something because a good editor wouldn't have led with this one. I'll see you Wednesday night with a gossip before bed, a bit of light fun. Can't wait. See you then. Bye.